Hello, you're listening to Otaku Spirit Animecast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
Today's episode is our discussional podcast episode. We talk about the news that seems important to us, that should be important to you because it's important to us, and then dive into our community, answer some great questions from our community members because it's been a while. We had like everything with the year ending, the reviews, you know, anime of the year and all that kind of stuff. So they've been hopefully cooking up a bunch of questions because I think we finished up all the questions last time.
Did we?
Yeah, so you guys we're slacking.
The last 2.5 years has been a complete blur, so...
Not sure why you had to set the bracket out there when we're talking about literally months ago. But yeah, I can see that. It's been a crazy little segment of time here, but yeah. So what's been going on, Chris? Give everybody an update. How have you been doing? Are you now officially becoming an anime addict again, or because things have changed? But that doesn't mean that you're gonna get back into anime. I think you became a normie.
You said something about that. But hopefully, as a couple of people do know, I have recently let that second job go. So hopefully I will have a little bit more time to keep up and become more engaged again. So
we'll see.
I have to get back in habits. That's the problem.
It's like the actions speak louder than the words. We'll have to wait until you achieve and prove your worth.
I got to get my otaku.
Until then, you are a normie. You're a normie. You're going to be like, yeah, I no longer have to work there anymore, so I'm just going to, game instead.
I did say that last week. Maybe I can actually start gaming again.
Set off everybody. But no, it's been a lot of fun here lately. Did you hear about Bocchi the Rock?
From what you said, it's coming back, yes.
Season 2 of Bocchi the Rock has finally been announced. There was a side of me that almost thought it wasn't going to happen. Like, there was a side of me that believed that it was one of those cases where it's a show that a cult following loves it. Like, people loved it. If you watched Bocchi, you probably loved it. But I kind of questioned just how big it actually was. It's kind of like the Yuri on Ice thing. We talked about that here recently. Yuri on Ice, super big. But was it really big? Like, oh, no, yeah, because it got this award. But was it really big? Like, was it really? I mean, I kind of follow the same agreement with a lot of the people that I think that it got the awards that it did, at least from like Crunchyroll, because people literally brought in normies to vote for it because of the context of it. So I kind of wondered if Bocchi the Rock was kind of the same thing, but it looks like it was something that was actually being brewed up for a long time. Like, according to the director himself, he's like, yeah, they wanted to keep going. And I told them, I'm not really sure about that and all this kind of stuff. And so it was a case where it was something that wanted to be done. It's just that he wasn't really 100% on board of, which for those that missed my video on the whole situation, it seems to come down to the fact that, and it's why he's not actually going to be with the second season. You watched Bocchi the Rock, right?
Oh yeah. I love it.
And you loved did you like what he did to it? That extra flair, the weird, the diorama thingy and all that kind of stuff, the live action puppets and stuff. Those weird things that he put together himself, he was so passionate about the show that he was doing, he did all that crazy stuff. And so there's a lot of people, and it was based on a 4-comic manga. Like, these are 4-panel snippets. Like, it's a very the structure of it's not really a free-flowing type of storytelling. 4-comic mangas can be free-flowing and consistently storytelling-wise, but this one really feels like very gag-related. Yep. Gag comic kind of thing. And so, yeah, obviously, him not being on board for the second season is a massive question mark for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it does look like his whole reasoning.
I've had a lot of hit and miss on the whole 4 comics. I've always had a lot of hit and miss on those. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Bocchi was one of the few that actually pulled it off. What was the other one that did that? The one that
wasn't Demon Girl Next Door supposed to be 4-comic? I know that one Puppy Girl one where she was. What did she go to this one area that was doing? It was with all the other girls there. Oh my gosh, that was the girl that used to always go on her back to apologize all the time because she was raised by foxes and stuff like that. I forget what it's called, but that was a 4-comic one. They did a really good job making that feel again, a consistent story that's always flowing through it. But, yeah, the concern that I have, and it's what the reason why everybody loved it so much is the reason why he's not going to be a part of the second season and why he didn't want to keep doing it. Apparently, according to him, it had like this little radio broadcast thing where they got on there and it's like, okay, if you have season one's director on there on that radio broadcast talking about the new season and he's not directing the next season, there's a reason why he's there. And it's literally like, I know you're going to ask this question, so let's get it out of the way here. Let's talk about this elephant in the room. I'm not going to be a part of it. And it seems like it's because he regrets how much he pushed everybody. Like, everything that he did with that first season, he believes, I mean, I would assume that he knows what he's talking about. He pushed everybody. He pushed everybody to their limits, trying to kind of accommodate all the weird stuff that he wanted to do with Bocchi the Rock. And it's like, at that side, it's like, I get it. Like, and I know that a lot of people are going to pick up on the other part of it, which is he may be directing Forever in season 2, and that's probably why he's busy. He was very clear on that broadcast. This is not about something that I can't really confirm if I'm even a part of. It's not about that. It was a personal choice of his, an artistic personal choice of his, and he regrets pushing people as much as he does, and he feels like it was a good stopping point for him on that project. So it's a sad story in the end, because I know a lot of people are going to be upset about it. I think, like, obviously the general public, like 98% of people that watch Bocchi probably have no clue. Like, they don't know who the director is. They're not going to know that it changed with the new season. They just like Bocchi. They just like the weird reactions that Bocchi has. They're not going to notice that it doesn't have weird rotating diagram things flying on the screen, or, again, little puppet characters jumping around. I think most people won't even notice. I don't really think it's so much about those little gimmicks that he kind of threw in there, because honestly, for me personally, it's like, if it's not in the original manga, I don't really even want it there. I got a kick out of it. I'm not going to fault him for doing it, but my more joy was how well he made it all cohesive. Like, he did a good job putting that together. I don't know if you agree with that feeling.
Well, director is one that's kind of it's one of those that you know that it's there when it's there.
Yeah.
But when it changes, you're like, something doesn't feel right. I think that we hit really hard on, like, Mushoku Tensei. I wish the original team was back on that one, because it didn't have the same feel at all. It was good, but not the same. Where it was like, detail. Yeah, the exceeding expectations of the first one compared to the second one. You don't realize it until it's gone, and you go, oh, that's what they did. But yeah, going to a different feel for Bocchi, I would rather not have it than get it without the attention to detail type aspect.
Yeah, and I know that, like, a lot of people are, like, you know, posting pictures of, like, oh, this Bocchi reaction was totally a director. I'm like, yeah, there's some cases where you guys believe that he made up those things and they're actually in the original manga. But again, there's, like, the other things that are definitely his own artistic flair, and it obviously shows in Frieren. Like, he's doing an incredible job with Frieren season 1, and again, if he's even a part of season 2, which it seems like he is, but he's not said it yet. If he's a part of season 2, I'm sure he'll do an amazing job with that as well. So I do acknowledge people's kind of love for what he does. And it's actually more of an aspect of, like, I appreciate how much freedom he was given on that project too, if you think about it. Like, they allowed him to do a lot of really crazy stuff with that. And it turned out to be things that I think resonated for people. Like, they really loved the work they did with that. So I'd hope that that's a freedom that maybe possibly the next director will be given. But with the next director coming on board under his kind of guidance, because apparently I think he chose this new director, there might be an aspect of like, well, I don't want to do what he did and, you know, overwork everybody, because he didn't like that, and now he's entrusting it with me, and now I don't want to do the same thing he did. So there is a little bit of a hesitation there that you kind of expect that he would have. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be honestly fine. Like I said, I think it's going to come down to if he can make it as a cohesive story like the last director did. I think that's the important thing. Like, it's not so much about, again, weird physical objects recorded and all that kind of crap. That's going to really sell it. Either way, I'm happy it's coming. I enjoyed Bocchi the Rock. So I'll be excited to see more. Apparently, they're hinting at possibly more performances, which makes sense to the story because they're getting going. They're getting going at this point, so they have to have more performances, right?
Yep.
We need more. What was the other one that was kind of like tied into it somehow? Slow loop. We need more slow loop. Where's the more slow loop? Because they didn't even. They were in this slow loop show performing. Then I think in Bocchi the Rock they had keychains of the slow loop characters. There was like a weird tie between the two shows.
Didn't they walk down the street or something like that?
I don't remember that. The slow loop characters walk down the street in Bocchi? I don't know. Were they airing at the same time? No, because I think...
No, they were a season or so off.
Yeah, slow loop ended, and then Bocchi came out, because that was what that's what made everybody look back at the other one or something like that. It was interesting. Interesting.
I do remember that the performance was in slow loop, but I want to say that the girls were walking down the street, or they were walking this way, and the slow loop girls were crossing the street or something. It just it was one of those that I want to say that you pointed it out to me, and I didn't catch it.
Yeah, I know. I got like a big old list of a bunch of references across it. It was a lot of fun. I like those little cross things. So, anyways, outside of that, did you ever watch Scientific Railgun?
Yes and no.
That yes or no?
Yes and no.
Yes, but you didn't finish it.
Yes.
That's a better question. Some of it. Yeah, I'm excited to see that certain Scientific Railgun is coming back for its 4th season. I didn't know it was going on for that long. This is one of those ones where I watched some of it a long time ago. I tried it. What happened is I learned about the Toru idea, universe. I don't know what the hell they call it. I think it's Toru universe or certain scientific universe. I heard about that originally with Railgun because obviously, the characters. I was drawn to the character designs.
Yeah, you would love the main girl. Yes.
Yeah, and so when I went to go, I think I watched a little bit of Railgun.
I did because of Index. I think I started Index, found out about Railgun, went back to Railgun, and started that. And I
you got it backwards.
Yeah.
Well, that's what me. I went to Railgun first, and then I found out later on that Index was the first. I'd always thought that Railgun was the first. I thought that Index was like a side story. Then I found out that Index was actually first, so then I went back to go watch Index, and there was something about it. Maybe I got distracted or something, or maybe I just wasn't getting like at all into it, and so I just never finished it, and then I never went back. So now I literally have like 120 episodes to watch at this point.
Oh, dear God.
Because I think each of the seasons of Railgun are 25, and then I think Index has 2 seasons, right?
I have no idea at this point.
That is too much.
I didn't know there was that many, so I knew it was huge, but I didn't know it was that huge.
Yeah, it's been like forever since the last season of Railgun. So Index is 24, and then 24, and that's it. So 2 seasons. And then it goes from there as a sequel into... Oh, no, there's season 3. 26. 24, 24, 26. That's all of Index. So that's like, 75 in itself. Let's see, Railgun. Got a lot to go through, Chris. Because I want to get caught up. I do want to get caught up. This will give me a reason to actually get caught up. So Railgun is 24, then 24, and then 25. That's it. So there's 75 each, pretty much.
So around 150 episodes.
I want to. I'm going to really try hard, but I don't think they've announced the date yet. So there's a good thing. I at least have probably at least a year probably to work on here, depending on... Because I think they specifically said greenlit, right?
Well, I would suspect that a lot of those special sites will have a lot of those shows showing up here soon. Probably in big old bundles. I wonder if my player will speed up the... I know that VLC does.
Are you going to speed watch it?
I might have to.
Just to figure out where you're at for the most part. They also announced another one from the same universe, which is the... what was it called? A certain item of the Dark Side novel. That one's getting an adaptation too, so that's another... It's another of that universe getting another season. So Good time to be a certain scientific fan, I guess, because you're eating good. You're eating good right now. Again, I hope that'll give me at least a. I don't think I bought the Blu-ray. I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to procure it in a way. Get a full listing procured into my folders. I will watch it. I'm making that determination now. If anything, what I'll probably do is I will probably watch it on the side in English dub. Watch it on the side until I get to stuff that I don't know. Because again, I have watched some of it. I just don't remember how much. Especially I have no clue what I watched of Railgun. I'm pretty sure I got through at least a core, maybe 2 cores of Index. So I'll just watch on the side until I get to a point that I remember.
In Index than I did.
In the overall grand scheme of things, it's not very far. When you're talking 75 episodes, that's not much. That's not much. But I do want to watch it. Now, it's funny because it's one of those things where, like, back in the day, it was huge. Like, I remember everybody was like, you know, for the old forums and whatnot, everybody had like not Index, but mostly like, it seemed like most people around me was Railgun. There was a lot of Railgun fans. I didn't see many Index fans. But people just had a lot of signatures and avatars that were all Railgun. People loved it back then, but it's like looking at it now, it feels like crickets. Like, are we at the point now where it's like, it's an old anime?
Well, how many people walk around talking about
Nobody talks about Railgun anymore. Like, it had the collab with Blue Archive here recently, and it was like, you should have done the collab when this announcement came around, excuse me. But like the collab came out for Blue Archive, and everybody's just like crickets. They're like, what is this show? Why are these kids in my lolly game? Get these kids out of my lolly game. The last one, I'm assuming Railgun T was the last one that came out. That was 2020? It feels like it's been longer since they had that show coming out with stuff.
No, I know that it came out a few seasons ago, so.
Well, that's like 5 years, so it can't be a few seasons. That's 5 years, not 5 months.
Well, remember, a lot of things are kind of a blur in the last couple of years. So
it's all blurred. You did say something about a blur happening. I don't know. So when was Index originally? When did the series first start? Again, this goes back to that whole thing where I just love seeing these old series get a second wind. Like, again, keep doing this. I like seeing that the stuff is getting full adaptations, even if it does take a while. 2009 was when Index first came out.
Well, it'd be nice if they went back to Seraph.
Seraph at the end. It's never happening. It's never happening. Now, it seems like whenever we bring up stuff, new things get announced, so it's happening. What was the last one that happened? Every time we bring up something new gets announced. It's always crazy like that. Did we talk about Bocchi before that got announced?
Probably. I want to say that
did.
You said, I want Bocchi to come back.
We probably talked about Bocchi at some point. You're all welcome. You're all welcome. Or at least I was talking about Bocchi because I, for some reason, was thinking it was the previous year's... I thought that it was going to fall into the Crunchyroll's awards because it was the previous year's fall, but I think it was 2022. So it's like, it's a year out of it, so... That's coming up here soon. Are you excited for the new Crunchyroll Anime Awards, Chris? I'm happy they're doing full years again. If I can give them credit for one thing, I'm happy they're doing that again. But I'm zero expectations for them, as usual. What else? What else, Chris, do we get coming up here recently? Did you hear about the Vampire Chan's anime? Vampire Chan's can't suck properly. I just love the title. Like the show looks cute. Like the character looks really cute, but. Yeah, Vampire Chan Can't Suck Properly manga is getting TV anime adaptation. I thought you would love that. Studio Phil's working on it, so that's good. The comedy manga centers on Luna, a second-year high school transfer student who is popular because of her cool and mysterious aura and her commanding presence. Luna excels in her studies and in sports, but as a vampire, she's actually bad at sucking blood. Tatsuta, Luna's classmate, who tends to blend into the scenery at their high school, discovers her secret. As a result, he becomes her mama so she can practice blood sucking. I skimmed a little bit of the manga. I wasn't like super like grabbed by it, but I feel like the anime is gonna like sell it for me. Like
it sounds oddly similar to Chibi Vampire.
That's immediately what came to my mind, and all that kind of crap. Because her problem was that she
produced blood.
Yeah,
she produced blood instead of sucked it.
Yeah, so she's totally broken. I still remember that stupid OP where she just gush. It's like, it's just stupid. Like, because it was funny, because I think that, if I remember correctly, that show came out like around the same time that I started getting fatigued with nosebleeds tropes. And so it's like, amidst me hating seeing these stupid harem protagonists, that every single time something lewd happens, goosh, which we don't have much anymore. Like, it's very rare.
It's here and there. Yeah,
every now and then. Obviously, 100 Girlfriends did it once when he was at the pool. He does it every now and then. But yeah, it was like, while I was getting fatigued with that, suddenly out of nowhere, that show comes out, Chibi Vampire, whatever, and suddenly she's just like gushing up at the screen every 2 seconds. It's like, but it's a cute girl, so it's fine. She gets a pass. Yeah, I'm kind of curious I'm assuming, what's the secret is the question mark that I have, which we'll find out with the show. You don't have to worry about answering the question for those that actually read it. Like I said, I just mostly skimmed it. Is it that they discover that she's a vampire? Or they discover that she sucks at sucking blood? That's the question mark. But yeah, my mental image was more of, which needs a second season, Interview with Monster Girls, with the vampire girl on that one always teething, chewing on people. So she's like going to be like trying to draw blood from him, and she keeps biting the wrong spot, or does she just keep missing every time she goes to bite him and running into poles or something? It'll be goofy. Again, she looks super cute, so I'm on board. Hopefully we can get a trailer here soon. I don't think we've gotten a trailer yet. Looking for that one. What else was announced? I talked about a couple. Oh, did you hear Air TV's getting, or an Air TV? I always say Air TV because that's immediately how I try to describe it. Air visual novels getting a Steam release. Did you already buy it?
No.
March 5th.
I should start. I mean, maybe that's what I'll do with my extra time.
It's like the light novels and stuff like that. There was like this point where Chris is like, it was because he was at work all the damn time, and so he just constantly had like books in his ears. And so he's like consuming all this light novels and stuff like that, which is making it difficult for us to talk about shows because he knows a bunch of stuff later on. And so he's always afraid of spoiling things, and I'm afraid of him spoiling things for me. And he's like, I read all these things, and I guess we could start doing some segments in the podcast about it. Never do. And then he's gonna do the same for visual novels. Yeah, I've consumed like, Grisaya and Air and all this stuff, and we'll eventually do some podcasts on it. Never happens. Never happens. He's got to put an outline together. Just put an outline together, and we'll discuss
visual novels.
No, you said your light novels. You still haven't delivered on that part. Deliver on that one first. Don't go start doing do visual novels now and never deliver on that too. Again, it's all about actions, Chris.
Which one do you want me to talk about right now?
Actually, you have to put something together. You're bad without an outline. I have discovered that. Again, Beheneko. Beheneko, how long?
You hate my outlines.
Beheneko, how long? Huh? 16 seconds, Chris. 16 seconds you talked about Beheneko. See the recent episode?
Yes.
They hinted at another isekai. Like, the main character is a freaking soldier turned into a freaking behemoth, and the actual main character is the mage. He's got himself a harem. He's got the cute demon girl. I know. I don't know if you can beat Vulcan in Beheneko, but the Beelzebub girl, she kinda. I like her design. So it's like, which one's better? Now, I was talking to Webby, because I'm pretty sure that his harem is going to be bigger than Tama's. Because Tama right now has Stella, Vulcan, and I always mix up her and the other elf lady.
You got the fairy and the...
Chris, you can't count the cute My First Baby. You can't count the baby. You can't count the My First Baby. You can
Why?
count,
They're
you can
doing
count
it.
the fairy.
They're doing it in 100 Girlfriends. That was too fun. The song.
The song.
You missed the song.
The karaoke episode. What does it have to do with
the
a
karaoke.
fairy and a lolly and my first baby?
I'm just making a joke. It's okay.
What's the connection though? Now I'm confused. What's the connection?
Because Shizuka is pretty much my first baby, but in the harem. So
no. They had the first baby
She's too
episode.
cute.
They had my first baby episode earlier
they all want to protect her.
because they turned everybody but Hakari into babies. That was their my first baby episode. I don't know. Eventually, I can see them possibly, but again, it's all in like the idea of like maybe he'll get a mama besides Hahari, like a mama that actually has a baby. I can totally see them doing that. It's absurd enough. It's absurd. No, the singing, the karaoke, so freaking good.
It was cute.
Like 5 minutes straight of everybody being blown away by cuteness, and everybody having. I wanted to bring this up somewhere, so I guess it's good here. I'm tired of the crater joke, dude. I'm tired of it. The Yamcha crater. I'm tired of it. Like, it is so funny because they just talk about Bocchi the Rock, and Bocchi the Rock did the Yamcha crater joke. But it's like, and now granted, 100 Girlfriends has done it before. They do a lot of references. Like this last episode had like, what, 4 different references in it? Like they had Haiti at the very end there. They had, what was the other one? Castle in the Sky. And then they had the Yamcha crater from Dragon Ball Z thing again with the karaoke. Like they do a lot of references, but it's like I'm tired of the crater. Like, have we stopped using that joke? Like every time it pops up on the screen now, somebody's like collapsed like that, and I'm like, oh god, it's the Yamcha crater thing again. Please stop. It's so old. Please. That was another one of those ones everybody's like, oh my gosh, I don't want the director to change for Bocchi Rock because they did funny jokes like this, and they showed the Bocchi being in the crater. That was in the manga. He didn't make that up. Again, that's one of those references that I think people think that he made all the jokes in the show. It's like, no, that's in the original manga. Anyways, what was I talking about? But yeah, I want to get rid of the Yamcha joke. It's old. It's old at this point. But yeah, anyways.
Vampires.
Air.
Oh, Air. That's right.
Air visual novels coming to Steam on March 5th. So, I don't know. It was the last time I technically beat the Jinrobuchi visual novel, so I can finally say that I've finished a visual novel besides Planetarian. But I didn't finish Clannad, Frugasaya. I'm terrible. I have a whole bunch up on over here, and I've not touched any of them. So there you go. I think I'll probably buy it though, just to show them support, because it's just cool that it's coming over here finally. I was hoping it would be with like. When like that stupid company that I don't have anything to do with now that brought over Clannad and stuff like that, Sekai Project. I was hoping when they were doing that, they were going to bring all of them, including Air. Because for those who don't know, Air is like one of the first anime that really got me bawling my eyes out. Because I was trying to think about it. I want to say the first anime that made me cry was Tenchi Muyo, the movie.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, the mom towards the later part of that, she freaking wrecked me, dude. I was in tears. But I don't know, other than that, like trying to think forward, like I think it was probably Air was the next one that had me kind of crying, like bad. The goal scene wrecked me, like just absolutely wrecked me, which made me mad because then later on I watched the movie and I was just wanting to watch it and experience it again. And I watched the movie and I'm like, it didn't get a single tear out of me. I'm like, you guys completely butchered that entire portrayal with this movie. This movie sucks. If you ever go to watch Air, you're probably gonna have to watch on questionable platforms in order to actually be able to even find it anywhere, because I doubt it's on Crunchyroll or anything. And if you go into a listing and you have a selection between TV and movie, watch the TV. The movie sucks. The movie was a bad compilation. Bad compilation. I don't even think the movie got into the backstory stuff. It's been too long. Anyways. Did you ever watch Air?
Yes.
Okay.
I still have a slight. I lean more towards Clannad. I like Clannad better.
I think overall the story, no doubt, Clannad is just leaps and bounds above Air. Like, I don't even remember any of the side characters of Air. That's how like unmemorable it was. But again, that was like a long time ago. But Clannad, yeah, just the main character is just so freaking good. Like Tomoya is just like a fantastic main character. So it carries it. And I still remember all the character stories in Clannad. I remember some of the stories, and it was decent. It was a decent one too. And that one got me teary eyed too. That one kind of messed me up too. Clannad obviously jacked me up too. Clannad had the gut punches on so speed dial. They had it on speed dial. They're like, let's go. You ready for another one? No, I'm still recovering.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I think that's one of the main reasons why we gave Charlotte such a hard time, was because it was like, when you go back and you think on, okay, this story did this for me, so, and then this story did this for me, and then you get to this one and you're like, this one did really good, and then you start going down to the other ones and you're just expecting it, and they're just not hitting the same notes, and you wonder what's causing that.
Poor Jun Maeda, our expectations that he's always going to be a home run hitter.
Yeah.
He's always going to produce gold, right? Well, that was one of the ones that was the few ones where the anime came first, because I think they did a visual novel after. I don't know if if that had any effect on it or not, but I doubt it.
What, Aaron Clannad or Charlotte?
No, Charlotte had an anime before the visual novel.
Probably. And I figured that he probably did a million times better in the visual novel, if he did do one. But I do, but like the Ribbon Girl, I want to go back to watch that one, or to actually do the visual novel on that one, because I know that there had to have been some really fantastic storytelling in that.
Wikipedia doesn't show a visual novel, so maybe I might be thinking of the
Rewrite.
The Robot Girl one.
The Robot Girl?
Yeah, the one that was here recently. High Dive had it.
The Ribbon Girl that was on the moon?
No, that's Rewrite.
Rewrite, okay.
Prima Doll. I think that was the one that they had a visual novel afterwards. So Canon, which again I had my memories of. Air hit me pretty hard, and then Clannad, Planetarian. I think the anime adaptation was solid. I did really like the visual novel of that though. Little Busters. Mm-hmm. I had my problems with it, but I really like the beginning segments of it. I really like the beginning segments of it. It's just the later part. The whole getting into the resolve was a little bit much for me. I haven't watched Cudwafter yet. Didn't they make an anime of Cudwafter?
Yeah, well, they did something with it.
Let's see. It doesn't list an anime. Because it was like an OVA or something like that. It was like, I think they get a Kickstarter of it, ? Yeah. Anime is a 51-minute theatrical anime of JC Staff, premiered in 2021. Why did I completely miss that? I gotta go watch that. I gotta go watch that. I completely forgot about that. Rewrite's anime adaptation was Garbo. I would like to read that eventually. I've heard it was really good. Summer Pockets, that's getting an anime here soon, which apparently that's been fully produced, so that's gonna be a... Can we take a moment to congratulate a company for fully adapting something before they broadcast it? That's good. Angel Beats was really good, too.
Angel Beats was the other one.
Planetarian, Snow Globe. We got
that one is one that, because of the insanity of that one, I would like to do the visual novel of that one, too.
And then Lunaria?
Seems like I watched that.
No, that's a visual novel. I don't think that's got an adaptation yet.
Or maybe I just bumped into it at one point.
Lunaria.
I know
Virtualized Moonchild. It's like a Miku, a blonde Miku. It's on Switch, Windows. No, it released on Switch February 24th last year, so it got a release over here. Completely missed that one. And then what was the last one? Stella of the End. That's it. Interesting. Anyways, that's a fun little rundown of history of key visual. Then you have Heaven Burned Red. Did you jump into Heaven's Burned Red yet?
Mm-mm.
I did for like 2 seconds, then I stopped playing it. doesn't seem like it's doing too well on the sales charts, anyways. So it's probably. I want it to last long just for people that invested in it, but I don't know what that's going to last long. The last news that I had that I'm pretty sure that you'll like because it actually jumped out at me. This is kind of interesting. Even a Replica Can Fall in Love novel is getting a TV anime adaptation. The synopsis is, on days when Sunao is sick and is not feeling like going to school, she is called to take on her place. She was born in this world when Sunao wished to have a substitute. No one knows that she exists, but she tries to do her best for Sunao whenever she is called. One day, she talks with Tsunada, one of her classmates. They become friends, but soon he knows that she's different from the original Sunao. But he was the first person who did. That kind of implies that other people are going to know. She tells him to talk to her only when her hair is done up half up. Sanada does as she told him, and they enjoy their time together. As they become closer, she realizes that she has special feelings towards Sanada, but she doesn't know what will happen to her if she, a Replica, falls in love. Now, I forgot to talk about this when I did my video talking about this announcement. I have, obviously, the question mark comes to mind is it kind of implies the idea that she wished her into existence. So this is not like a robot replica or something like that. Like it talks about nobody knowing. And it's like, well, if this world had replicas or, you could make a clone of yourself or a robot of yourself, I'm pretty sure most people would probably question this stuff on a regular basis. So it implies that she's like just manifest. Like this is a replica. And she comes out whenever she calls her and he goes to school. And that he figures it out. And thus they start to kind of hang out with each other and eventually fall in love. The theory that I kind of have, and I kind of wonder, could this be a split personality story? Like, they're both the same Sono. It's just that she believes that she is sick and sends a persona, which is actually herself. That would be interesting. And then he just notices that she's kind of acting differently. And then she's like, yeah, I'm a replica or whatever. Only talk to me whenever I have my hair up. And then when she goes back home and she returns home to the original, it's just in her mind, okay, send the replica away. And now I'm myself again.
I could see that.
That would be interesting. Because, I mean, the question mark that you would assume the direction is going to go is that, yeah, if it is an actual replica and she's just going to school for her and falls in love with this boy, then it creates that whole question mark and that kind of, yes, a kind of odd feeling that when the original goes to school again and he's looking at her like she looks just like the one that I love, it's that whole struggle there of like a twin or whatever, where he wants to speak to her, or he has doki doki feelings, but that's not her, or that he wants to see the replica, but she keeps coming to school, so he can't see his beloved. I think it both can create really interesting stories, and I'm very kind of curious if it's got me intrigued. Mm-hmm. Like, it's rare that I have a synopsis where when I read it, I go, I'm actually really interested in this. Like, it usually takes like a PV or something like that to cut, unless it's like an absurd story like Beheneko or something. I was reincarnated, and now I'm hanging out in the bobs of my elf waifu, and now they all want my seed. Have my babies.
Stella was going nuts.
Gosh, she's like, pregnate me. Give me baby.
Give me baby now. I have a third form. Feed me.
I think that was it. I think all the rest of the news are kind of very shrug. Kept Man of the Princess Knight live novel is getting an anime adaptation. Sword Demon Hunter Kijin Gintosho got a new promo for its premiere in March. Virgin Punk's gonna be in theaters in Japan in June. And that's it. That's all the notes that I popped down. That said, let's dive into the community. We've got an early jump into the community, answer some questions from our community members. So yeah, for those that don't know, in the links in the description, you'll see links to the Discord. You can go to otakuspirit.com. You can go there for our link to our Discord. All those ways you can get a hold of us. And there is a submit questions thread where you can post in there your questions. Like, let me disable stream mode because I can't see people's names. Like Davlin said, with a lot of recent romantic series taking big steps like Dangers in My Heart, Dress Up Darling, and Komi-san, do you think this... Oh, that's right, that's the other news.
You skipped his other one.
See, Komi-san, Dress Up Darling manga is ending next month. I skipped one? Yeah. I did. He posted like 4. It's champ right here. Davlin's carrying the community right here. Anyways, yeah, Dress Up Darling apparently is ending next month. That's a bummer. I kind of want to read it. I kind of want to finish it. I don't know. I don't know if I have time.
Right.
Devlin says, hello, I hope your holiday season treats you well. My question is, what is your comfort series? The one you go back to for various reasons, like just to make you feel better. I don't really, like, whenever I think about, like, this is the sucky thing about what I do is, like, I'm just constantly trying to consume another new thing because I have to do something new. The idea of going back to older shows is just kind of impossible. I did have for a long time, I do have a emergency comfort show, which is the movie for Nananbyori. I still have that movie sitting right there on my shelf. I refuse to watch it until I'm in a really bad spot. It's my break in case of emergency. Like I assume that if it's because it's like the last I have of it, so I'm saving it. I don't want to watch it because then it'll end. And so it's just there as like a backup. Now watch it be like one of those rare moments, like because there was a moment in Nananbyori that Renge got super emotional, and I'm like, what? What? You can't do this. This is my fun fluff show to come to, and now I'm crying because Renge's crying. So hopefully it's not a really emotional movie, and it's like it wrecks me. But I don't know. I know, like I said before, Hanasaki Roha technically kind of brought me a lot of clarity in my life at some point. That's why I had it like my top list for the longest time, is because I loved it for kind of being there when I was kind of in a struggling point in my life. And I've gone back and watched it a couple times, but I do find with certain things like Maid Dragon, Nishisho, stuff like that, I do find a comfort in just like pulling up a clip of it really quickly and watching it. But I've never like, turn it on and watch the entire series or anything like that. So
there's sometimes you end up going in because I think I did that with, I was showing somebody clips of, I was trying to show him what a cabot was. And so I went to Tenchi and I was showing him, and I'm just getting sucked in. Because I was automatically thinking of Tenchi as one of those just kind of sets you back, type. I could see that for like Golden Time or something like that, or Golden Boy or something like that. It's just those shows that you just kind of resets you. This is what anime is.
Well, I know for a long time, for a while there, and again, this is like back when we didn't have freaking 60 shows. That's the other problem, is that we have like 60 shows a season, so it's like you have to like frantically keep up. But there was a time where we didn't have like 60 shows. We had like maybe 20 at most, and you weren't watching like half of it because they just weren't interesting to you, or they're long running series. And so there was a time where, every now and then we just fire up the first few episodes of Tenchi Muyo. That's why we got most of the beginning segments memorized.
Yeah.
There's definitely a nostalgic
but
feel there.
I could see Nananbyori being one of those that I could just go back to anytime I wanted to. Some of those Iyashikes that we found over the years, that some of those Iyashikes I could swallow up. I love
that was
them.
another thing. I like how I'm remembering news as we're doing other things. Mushishi.
Mm-hmm. You were saying something about that.
Original manga series, they're doing a hardcover reprint of it all.
Oh, yeah?
Totally gonna buy it. Like, if I can't have my Blu-ray release of the entire series, at least I can go back and buy, like, the original manga series, because that's been out of print for a long time, I believe. So that's a cool little thing there. Mushishi gets heavy at times, but that's totally an atmosphere feel. Totally an atmosphere feel. I can see
atmospheric. I wouldn't call it a Yashike though. I think that we debated that back and forth a few times.
It's got it's just hits on very heavy subjects a lot. I mean, it's a lot to do with like, here's a warning, don't touch that. Did you hear me? Don't touch that. And they touch it and then they die. You touched it. And he's just walking off with a cigarette in his mouth like, I told him. It's like, it's totally, I warned you. Flick, flick. Walk in the sunset. Oh, you look pretty messed up. Here, hold on a second. All right, you're fine now. What happened? You touched that. Don't touch it again. Later. You touched it again as I'm walking out the door. It's dorky. It's great, though. It's so great, though. Such a good series. It's a very overly simplified explanation of what Mushishi is. Anyways. Question 2. What was a series that you were dead wrong about? One you thought was going to be good. Was going to be good, but was terrible. And one where you had no hope, but be surprised you and enjoyed it. Enjoyable it was. Thank you for your time. Too many to list. There's so many times where I just think a series is going to be bad and it turns out to be great, and I love a series and it turns out to be crap. And that's just that's the name of the game. Because unfortunately it kind of works both ways in cases where a writer has a good idea. Like they have a really good idea, but it's kind of like the first volume syndrome. Like they had this great idea, but almost like they didn't know that it was going to get more than one volume. So they have no clue where they want to take it. It's a good joke early. That's especially true with comedies. They have a good joke,
didn't we think
and then it just dies really quick.
Sakamoto-kun was like that, where we were expecting that it was going to be just Pretty Boy, and we were going to just move on with it, and it just turned out to be so amazing. Haven't you heard?
I'm Sakamoto? Yeah. That one was, that was definitely a case of like the joke. It won't get old. Why? Why won't you get old? You stupid joke. Yeah, I could definitely agree with that.
Didn't we do that with Nozoki-kun? We weren't expecting that one to turn out, and it ended up being amazing as well.
Monthly Girl Nozoki-kun is definitely a case of one that, I mean, from the very beginning, it grabbed me and it just never let go. Like that one's one of those ones where, yeah, there was a couple points in it where it felt like it should get old, the joke itself, because the idea there is that she's like madly in love with him and he just completely gets the wrong idea most of the time. I can see that.
But were we expecting it to be bad from the get-go? That's the question. I don't remember. You'd have to go back and see what we decided on those ones when we were talking about the
you know what PDs. I like to do? Somebody actually somebody brought up a good point at some point. I never really got a chance to look at it, but there is sort of a funny factor with my content creation, because of course the usual route in which I go with my seasonals is, of course, I'm doing preview, I'm doing first impressions while I go into the best of the season so far, and then it goes into my rankings from Japan, and then I'll go into reviews and what ends up being the top 10 of the season. And I'm pretty consistent, but there's of course some times where like it doesn't quite turn out the way I think it is so far, where my list when I do it for the so far ends up being completely different than the list for what is the top of the actual season. It doesn't really happen too often, but I can definitely see that. Like Roshideri technically did come down a little bit for me. The Tamer, the Tamer girl one, the Isekai Tamer one, Weakest Tamer, something like that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Didn't really keep up with my hype that I kind of had around it early on. It kind of fell off for me. It was still a good show, but I was like super hype on it early on. But yeah, I think the ones that like surprised me most was definitely like Dandadan. The fact that I loved that as much as I did, because I didn't really think I was going to be something that would work for me. Spy Family, technically for me, I was super hype on early on. It fell off for me. Like I kind of fell out of love with it, even though it's still a good show. It's just not doing enough for me that I like. Sabikui Bisco, that one was definitely one where I was super hype on it early on, and it kind of fell off for me. Yuki Yuna is a hero, but that's kind of an adaptation issue. Like, I loved the first season enough that I got the pony cans. I got the pony cans. I like being able to go, I liked it so much, and I can prove it to you. I have the pony can release. I love the first season of Yuki Yuna, but those other seasons were garbo. And again, I think it's just because of how they adapted it. It completely failed to like deliver the emotional impact they could have done with that whole series. I don't know. There's probably like a billion more examples that I don't really have up on my screen right now, but literally every season there's at least one show that doesn't work for me that like starting out it was really, really incredible. Davlin also says, with a lot of recent romance series taking big steps like Danger My Heart, Dress Up Darling, Call Me Song Can't Communicate, do you think there will be this will be the norm going forward, or will the 400 plus chapters of Will They Won't They be the most common types of romance series? What's a romance? Okay. The first question. I'm guessing the point here is that shows that quickly move the romance along, because technically with Danger My Heart, it's like it still kind of took more than what most anime adaptations get. Like, the problem that typically comes from these is that they're only getting a single core adaptation, and in the original source material, it kind of takes more than just that single core to actually have a relationship confirmed. So like even with Danger My Heart, you're not really quite there yet. Like, but I get what they're kind of saying here is just the stories that won't just have the will they won't they. That's really what it is.
Will they won't they is kind of a staple, mostly because it sells manga.
Yeah, you want it to keep going. You want it to keep dragging it out. Like Rent a Girlfriend, it's just going to keep dragging out. They don't want an actual relationship to happen, because then it's mostly in harems.
Yeah,
because they can't have them select one of the girls, because then unless you establish that a harem is going to be okay for them to all be with him, they can't have them select one of them, because then the other ones lose and they go away. They want you to keep dragging that out. Like,
yeah. The only time that they really change up on that is usually if the relationship is a byproduct of something else that they're trying to sell. Yeah. So, for instance, My First Love, or was it My First Love Story or My Love Story? I absolutely love the show, the story, but it was the thing that they were selling was big old oaf with cute girl, and he's not the normal protagonist. His best friend is the normal protagonist, and so they're trying to talk about the quirkiness of their relationship. So there's something else that they're trying to sell.
They do all the will they won't they after they get together.
Yeah, right.
Because with that one, I mean, if you think about it, because I think I made the joke about that when it came around. It's like it's like you're excited because the first episode they literally get together, but what happens is after that they do all that stuff. Well, she's not with me, right? Or it goes into other things like, are they messing with me? Maybe she got the wrong person, all that kind of stuff. So it still ended up kind of doing most of the same stuff, just reversed, which for me equally frustrates me. I don't like the idea of establishing a relationship, but then still having the was. Like I was joking about that with I haven't really watched much of it, so I'm really speaking on my initial like episode 1 impressions and fears that I had of it. Was the Can He Keep a Secret show? I was like, okay, they're right after that first episode they're together. Oh crap, are they going to do like the whole like, oh, they touched hands, blush? Like, you guys are banging. What do you? Like I get more of a kick out of the fact when it's implied that they've actually done it, but yet they're still blushing. I mean, I had that frustration with the Tsukimi. I'm gonna keep saying the Over the Moon for You, where it's like, why are you still acting like you've never seen each other? Why are you acting like you've never touched each other? Like, you can't hold hands. You've just been French kissing a minute ago, and you can't hold each other's hands. Like, there's an opposite effect that comes from that too. So I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a shift in sort of what they do. I think there is. It does obviously seem like there is a growing trend of jumping into relationships and telling the after story. But I found in most cases, even though I want it, in most cases, they don't really do much with it after that. Like, it's almost like the build up to that relationship is what drags people on. You want to know what's going to happen. Very few writers are good at going, okay, then what is the problem? It's much more easier to write a story about who will come together than tell a story about what will they do together.
Yeah, it's easier to do the "oh cute" thing than it is to actually, because if you go anything past that, you immediately go into drama and melodrama type stuff. So,
what's a romance series you'd like to see a game of, but not a dating sim? Example: I like an idol manager game for Anna from Dangers. Idol manager game for Anna Yamada. Okay, I'm connecting what you're meaning. A non-dating sim type of story around a character. I can't really say I can think off the top of my head anything I want to do. I mean, to your point with that idea of doing an idol manager for Yamada for Danger My Heart. I mean, equally something like I think there's a lot of like anime specific shows that don't have actual idol games that would have a lot of fun around that kind of stuff. I've always liked the concept of manager style games. Not that I've ever actually gotten into them too much, but I know Chris for a long time was getting super into like, what was it, like an RPG shop owner kind of story?
yeah.
Yeah, those are
Still pretty much am.
still playing it. Still to this day, Chris is playing it. I don't know. I'd have to think on that one more. I might hopefully come back to that question because it's an interesting question, honestly. A series I am listening to is about a reincarnated person who opens up his own anime studio in a non-Earth world. What would be the top series you'd want to adapt for another world to see the anime to see, and would you make any changes to it? So, like, if you can adapt one anime to another world, what would you adapt over there? I mean, like Tsukimichi, he's pretty much doing that. That's pretty. Are you reading Tsukimichi? I don't know. Because I think it would really depend on what kind of world I'm going to. Like, if it's a world that has some sort of hardship, I would hope to tell. Because the assumption is that if you go to another world, the assumption is it's going to be like a fantasy world that doesn't have like high technology. The assumption is there. If it's just another world that doesn't have like entertainment like that, it's going to be easier to get out there to eyeballs because people are going to be more fascinated and want to look into it versus a world that, has technology and there's plenty of shows. Then you're going to be more wanting to choose something that will get attention through entertainment value. So it might come down to specifically, possibly using it as a tool, basically. Like if you see an issue in the world that you're going to, you would probably want to adapt something that would make impact on that world, whether it be for your own benefit.
Are you talking about Outbreak Company?
I mean, that's the joke. That's concept there is, basically bringing over otaku culture and making them deadbeats like otaku are, in order for them to take over the lands. But no, the idea is like, if the world that you're going to has, forced servitude, and you're trying to help break that, what kind of anime would you bring over that tells a story that would be able to enlighten them to not want to do things like that, the horrors of that aspect? I don't know. I don't really have
Grave
anything
of
that would be.
Fireflies, but just
yeah, I mean that's the example.
Just drop Grave of Fireflies and run.
I mean then there's the question mark. Would they even understand what's happening in it?
Right.
Like if it's like a medieval style time period, rustic wagons and whatnot, would they even know what a plane is?
Fool.
What they would assume it's probably like a magical spell that goes off and devastates an area. Which I guess, again, that point, it's like, if you're trying to sway people from war, this is what you're going to go into. Or advancements in technology, this is where you're going. Because that's basically what that is. Yeah, I guess Grave of Fireflies. I don't really have much of another, because my mind immediately lets up like, okay, let me think about like my favorite shows of all time. Let me go, oh yeah, Mushoku Tensei, and they're like, okay, I mean, it's not as fascinating to a world that's similar to it. Again, if it's that like a fantasy setting, medieval world, There you go. Ghost in the Shell, just to confuse the hell out of them. They won't know a damn thing that's happening in Ghost in the Shell. They won't know a damn thing that's happening there. Yeah, that's even the problem with things like Shogun Roku or something like that. I guess that would be probably a storytelling, a show that they could gather what it's talking about, because it's telling stories and they describe the stories. That'd be a good one. Shogun Roku. Anyways. It would probably end up being something that's like more simple though. Something that everybody can kind of connect to. Like more like a child's show or something like that. That's it from Davlin. Thank you, Davlin. Well, we're going to come back to you in a second. Let's see. Lemonade says, for the holiday season, your top Christmas chapter episodes from a manga or anime. I guess you can throw out the classic Lovin. I haven't watched it in a long time. I did really like Onimai's Christmas episode a lot.
Wasn't there a show where the girl was Santa or something like that and she got stuck?
Tordora. Tordora.
No. There was literally a show where the girl, she was supposed to be Santa.
Oh,
and she got stuck, huh?
I thought you were talking about the ending of Tordora.
And she got stuck at his house, and she had to give him the gift of happiness or something like that. And if I remember right, they ended up falling in love, and they ended up having Christmas. That entire show was cute.
Obviously, Toradora is like one of those big picks for like Christmas season type shows that I've always kind of enjoyed. I still have yet to watch Tokyo Godfathers. I will eventually watch that. I would probably pick Onimai. That was like a recent one that I really, really enjoyed. I typically like the Christmas episodes. For me personally, they don't typically like stand out like amongst everything else, but I do enjoy them. Davlin comes back, says, I am fairly new here, and I was curious, what was your first anime, and what show made you want to make a channel? First ever anime for me, I think I always kind of bounce back and forth between it being, again, that we knew it was anime. Like that, not like, Maka Go 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 or anything like that, Speed Racer, but that we knew it was anime, like I'm literally watching a Japanese anime. I want to say it was either Tenchi Muyo or Akira. I want to think it was probably Tenchi Muyo. But yeah, one of those two was my first one. I think Chris was
first anime. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Sailor Moon.
I'd been earlier than that. You watched Tenchi Muyo and stuff. Wasn't Sailor Moon like late 90s?
Well, considering what we were watching, because we were recording Sailor Moon before.
Yeah, I don't know which one came first there. If it was like Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon on TV,
well, and then
my friend
then
watched,
we got into the weird, because we talked about this way back. It's probably been a long time, so most people have not. If you haven't caught up on a lot of the old shows. We were talking about the idea that there is anime that we watched before we knew it was anime.
Yeah, right. That's what I was talking about.
Like in particular for me, it was Golian. It was Robotech in America or something like that.
Yeah, Robotech and Speed Racer and all that stuff. Ira said, if you could rewrite the ending of an anime, which one would you pick and how would you change it? Again, this goes back to the earlier conversation about like shows that fall off. There's way too many. I could rewrite an like a legitimately like one that like would actually like turn something from being like a sour to something that I really enjoy. Probably Wonder Egg Priority, because that show was so freaking good until that ending. And I think it sucks because there's a lot of cases where I want to praise the show, but then I have to put that caveat there. I mean, that was the same as All Noah Zero. With All Noah Zero, it's like, that's such an incredible first season. And to have like this really bad second season is like suddenly it's hard to recommend to people because of how bad the second season was. But like I said, there's a lot of cases like that where something just absolutely fell apart in the end, and you kind of wish that it didn't because it kind of sours your entire perspective of it. Snafu. romantic comedy snafu.
Make him choose the right direction.
No, like I said with that one, that's just more of like just the build up to that ending. Just it felt stupid. Like it felt so rough and just cruel. Really is what it is. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was probably another one that I can't really place that was like a case of like the ending. The ending ruined it. I know for a lot of people, Kato, the right answer is ending. I was okay with it. But I do feel like it could have probably had a better ending. Something that probably wouldn't like completely upset people too much.
I have some answers, but it would be spoilery, so...
You could name the show. You don't have to explain it.
Clannad.
Its true ending is good. Its true ending's okay. Oh, a Golden Time. That ending sucked. That ending kind of ruined it for me. I mean, it was still good, but yeah, it did kind of ruin it for me.
Yes, I could go with you on that one. Just do an extra alternate ending. You don't have to just... When you have those kinds of shows, do alternate endings. I think that would be just fine.
Oh, Dalvin also said earlier, what show made you want to make a channel? Like the podcast itself? I would have to go look at what our first, like I think again, we were technically doing like gaming and then and anime, and we kind of shifted over to anime only. I don't think there was necessarily something that like triggered it to happen. Just other than the fact that we just had a lot of shows we're watching, we want to talk about them. So I don't think anything specifically triggered it to happen. Let's see. Shadow Wing MD says, if you were able to invite an anime character to your podcast, who is it going to be and why? Invite an anime character.
Golden Boy.
He would somehow manage. He would probably mess up the podcast. Kintaro Oe.
Kintaro Oe so awesomely.
Yeah, Kintaro Oe, the Freeder who does all these odd jobs, would come in here and mess up everything. I would be upset, probably thinking that we have to cancel the podcast forever, and then overnight he concocts some crazy thing that makes it go viral.
And then you'll love him forever.
And then I'll chase him down the street in my car, going, "Take me, Kintaro Oe, take me, give me your baby." That's typically how it goes for old Kintaro Oe. No, I see. Here's this little difficulty here, where you go, okay, what would be good for the podcast? I mean, obviously, a waifu would be good for the podcast in general, but like, there's like, what would be good for the podcast to make it like extremely entertaining, or what would be just like something you want for yourself. So yeah, it's like, yeah, I want Roxy to be on the podcast so I can talk to Roxy. But there's the catch. You could have your waifu literally be in the room on the podcast with you, which would be like great to have that number one waifu of yours to be in the room, but then they can't stay. So would you want to taste? Would you want to have your waifu in the room with you only for her to have to disappear once the recording stops? You'd have to set a time, because otherwise leave the recording going on. Chris, go down to the store and buy me a crap ton of terabyte hard drives. We got to keep this recording going on infinitively so that she never disappears. Or go over something that's actually like entertaining or interesting. Like, you know, for lack of something better on my mind here. Holo. Because as much as I love Roxy, she probably honestly would not do good on a podcast. She probably would not be good. I mean, it would
be awkward
unless you could break through that ice really quickly and get her to kind of talk about something, about the world or something like that. Get her to go into a lesson.
Get her telling us about magic,
the history of the world and magic. Although I can see being somebody, especially if you throw a couple drinks on the table, she probably would just tell you some stories. Like, just go crazy and tell you some stories. I think legitimate Holo would, as much as I would want Roxy, Holo would probably be a very entertaining host guest at the same time, telling some really fascinating stories. She'd be a character. The only problem with that is that our next episode following that would be just garbage. Like, how do you
How do you beat that?
How do you beat that? What do you like? Everybody comes here and goes, "Holy crap! They have a Holo on there as a guest. This is great, man." Sub next episode's me and Chris talking about.
I wonder if we could pull that off with
seasonals.
some AI.
Well, no doubt. Just make a whole segment of like a Q&A and they're answering all the questions. That would actually be pretty funny. Get on it, Chris, with all that extra time you got. My AI Chris. I mean, I did good with you. I can do a holo, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's probably models out there for a lot of the bigger characters. I mean, obviously going to be for like all the shonen characters. There are probably models built for them already.
Probably.
There you go. There. Thanks you, Shadowwing MD. Sidkun says, if you by accident enter an Attack on Titan world, even after knowing all the knowledge, what will you do?
Obviously, I would
get the hell off that island. If I'm on the island, get off of it. There's your answer. Find a place off to the side and hope that it's not before where all of them step on without spoiling things. Hope it's this, like, I think they literally got to the edge of it and that was like literally the last of it. But just enjoy your life until the stepping's coming. Or find out where that is. The steppings.
Get the hell out of there. Go somewhere else.
Build a spaceship or a rocket ship to get off.
Worst case scenario, eat somebody.
Climb on top of the feet. Ride them feet all around the world. Get up on them feet and ride them. It's such a garbage world at the end. It's such a garbage world at the end. There's no hope for you in that world. I agree though. I think just find somebody, eat them. What the fan art says, you must either live in a harem of the most gorgeous waifu imaginable, all of them tsunderes and yanderes, or live in a shrine of maidens. Every one of your ideal dream girls, but have also taken a vow of celibacy. Where do you live? So you must either be with the most gorgeous waifus, all of them yanderes and tsunderes, or shrine maidens. But with both of them, so I'm guessing the first one with tsunderes and yanderes, there's no vow of celibacy, but if you're with the shrine maidens, they have a vow of celibacy.
One, you can do something with them, but they're probably going to kill you. The other one,
or each other.
You can't do anything, but you're going to live. Both is a garbage situation.
One, you get at least one shot.
Yeah.
Possibly two shots. The other one, you never have a shot. But some would claim that if you have the vow of celibacy, you're dead anyways.
Yep.
With the second one, for a lot of people, that's death.
Yep.
I don't know. I more struggle with this idea because I actually do like the idea of living at a shrine. Like if I can have my ideal like retirement, it would be to go live in Japan at a shrine. That just sounds like a very, very peaceful, like later, like whenever I watch a show that has like the whole shrine, I mean, like, oh my God, my sister's right now. It's like, I think I would kind of like that. Just chilling, sweeping the stones.
I'm not choosing celibacy. I'm picking the
I'm saying aside from all that stuff.
I'm just telling you my answer. Okay, I'm picking the yandere that has the greatest chance of living.
Tsunderes and yanderes.
Have them kill everybody else, and then I'm fine.
So your idea is choose the tsundere yandere waifus, get one of the yanderes to kill all the other ones, and you're fine at the end.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, because I'm not going to get a harem, so
the concept with that one, because I was talking about the whole shrine thing because I think it's actually a very good place there. Yeah, it does suck the idea of being with a bunch of ideal dream girls and never being able to touch them. But from like really digging into the tsundere yandere side of it, choosing that one instead, you have basically two different routes with that one. It's like the first route is that you get with this tsundere or something like that, and then one of the yanderes get mad, and they kill you along with them because they don't want them to be with anybody else. Or you choose to just buddy up with one of the yanderes, and specifically, and have them defeat the other yanderes, and probably end up killing the tsunderes in process, but at least you get one and you're safe. Because if you don't at least connect to one of the yanderes and refuse the others, that yandere will kill you.
Yep.
That's how it always ends. It's the nice boat. That's not really how that ending is, but it's the same concept there. They're going to stab you and keep you for themselves, cut your head off and cradle it. It's not a good ending. It's very bad. It's the very bad.
Very
ending.
bad.
Very bad. Do you see that he slapped a ring on it?
Yes.
I just love those two. Like they did the bonding, they did the docking, and now they slapped a ring on it. Such a good show. So the choice is, I kind of agree with Chris. I'm not like a massive fan of yanderes. I would have to calculate it. If I could possibly get the two yanderes to kill each other.
Yanderes are fire. You have to be very careful with it.
If I can figure out the situation with the yanderes, I would probably get them to turn on each other, and then run off the tsunderes. Babaka.
Most yanderes have superpowers, so
no specification in there that they had to be superpowered.
True.
No specifications there. There is.
I mean, tsunderes tend to be a little bit safer bet, but
and by that token, tsunderes in a lot of cases end up being extremely strong.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you for going that direction.
How else can they not beat the fire out of you? I mean, we got Rentasaka faces. I mean, all of them are basically goddesses and gods. There you go. I'll just buddy up with my Rentasaka faces, and they will save me from all the yanderes.
It's not like they're doing it for you.
Baka. The other question he has is: you collected all the Dragon Balls. Nothing is beyond the power of the great dragons. What is the wildest thing you'll wish for? The wildest. Roxy, there you go. That's not really wild, is it? It's gotta be wilder, Chris. I want a Minecraft island.
I'm a simple man. I want a harem that is not going to try and kill me.
That's not wild. That's why I said it. A Minecraft island. Just something wild. Something I would never say. I don't want a Minecraft island, but I just say that so that it's wild. I would wish to be Sekai'd to another world with OP abilities. That would be fun. And again, like we were talking about last time, I would not save the world because I have no ambitions. It was something that I realized when one of my Mushoku Mondays is like I'm so ambitionless and lacking of ambitions that I think if I got isekai to another world, I would probably be the one isekai stories that I never really like. Soul Life.
That would be me.
I hate watching Soul Life isekais, but that would legit be me. I would be the one that just wants to be left alone and just farm or something like that. Like, as much as I'm okay with middle-aged online shopper show, but it's like not very interesting, but I would do that. I just don't care to watch somebody do it. Like, I actually like gardening. I like cultivating like land. I think that's a really fun process. It's hard work, but I like it. I don't like watching somebody do it. Look, it's like I'm fine with cooking. I don't like to watch people cook. Like these are like not mutually exclusive. Like, you do not have to have these two things. You can like something, but not like watching people do it. So that would be totally a Soul Life isekai. So yeah, wish to be isekai'd. Any Western? What was your wish? Oh, you want a harem. You're boring.
Yeah.
Any Western cartoons?
I'm a simple man. I want a harem.
Any Western cartoons you're a fan of, past or present? Western cartoons. What was the big ones growing up? Holy crap. I loved Scooby-Doo. I liked a bit of Scooby-Doo. I didn't keep with it for a long time, but I did like a bit of it. I was Big into Looney Tunes for the longest time.
I would say probably Courage. Courage the Cowardly Dog. I love Courage the Cowardly Dog.
My favorite animated film growing up was Lion King. I really liked Lion King. I was a massive fan of Lion King.
I did watch Airbender. I did like that.
That's anime, Chris.
That's not anime.
I like how it's going to be the reverse thing now, where it's like typically nobody likes you not saying it's anime, and then now when you call it as a Western that it's one of your, they go, no, that count. Oh, now it doesn't count. Good reverse psychology there, Chris.
But no, I did like Airbender. It would be tough to decide which one, because I really love Courage the Cowardly Dog. That was an absolute junk fest for me. I love it, and I go back to
Rocko's Modern Life, dude. I was a massive fan of Rocko's.
I never tried it.
I loved it. Spunky. Spunky. They were talking about bringing that back here recently too, and I'm like, no, stop. Please don't. I don't know if they ever did. Don't care. Even if they did, I don't care. I'll remember for what it was. It'll stay back there. I was like just breaking into that kind of more like, it's not Simpsons or Family Guy area yet, but you're still kind of in that kid area. So it's teenagers, a teenager show. I forget what other ones were during that same time. I don't know. I almost want to say Rocko's. Really liked Rocko's back then. Cosplay Joe says, do you think that the reason that Tsumasho only got one season was because of how controversial it was and they didn't know whether or not it would be well received? No, I think the one single core was just perfectly fine for it. I think it probably came down to a decision that they chose what sort of segments they technically skipped, which again was mostly his coworker and the author that she ends up bumping into. The author and the coworker kind of trimming down their stories or removing those stories ended up turning out to be a very well-paced adaptation for a single core. I literally think that's what it is. They literally came to the author. They were like, how can we fit this? Let's just take these two things out. And it perfectly fits. They're like, yep, sign up for it. They did it. Because I think it's still, in the end, I know there's a couple people that disagree with me, but I think it turned out fine as a single core.
Yeah, I don't see any real reason to go back to it. It was a compact and complete story as it was. And that's in a lot of cases what we could only hope for.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of shows that you get manga bait, and it's
that's what I was kind of, yeah, that would be the worst, is to not have it fully completed. I would argue, and I was kind of mentioning this as this series was going on, it was like, I actually like how they condensed it, because I really felt like reading the manga alongside of it, the manga is just all over the place. Like it doesn't, I feel personally that a lot of people would probably dropped off of it if it actually did all that side storying and jumping around as much as it was. I think people would probably lose interest in it very quickly, because it does get very sporadic with its storytelling. All over the place with a lot of characters, and they just wanted to focus it in on their family. Like that was what they technically wanted to do with the adaptation. I like it. I wish they did the time jump forward, but that's fine. I also think they'll go back and make a second or even third season with a lot of content. No. Now they may do an OVA with the time skip. I can possibly, but I doubt that. It doesn't seem like it was a very high budget show, and if I remember correctly, it wasn't high on the rankings in Japan when it did that. Yeah, I don't think so. Like, even the idea of them doing sort of a
OVA special that goes with the box is what I would think.
What the hell's that one? That romance show that did the Peace season, which was like all the skip content. Horimiya Peace. No, wouldn't do a Horimiya Peace situation where they just kind of do all the stuff that was skipped. Yeah, I don't see any of that happening. what the fan art says, what's your favorite version build of Evangelion? The Avas?
Probably the original. I
You mean
really
like
need
the
to
actual
finish.
series?
I would have to go and finish the last couple of. Did we finish on 2 or? Because I don't think I ever watched the last one. I know that.
I watched them all.
Well, I'm talking about me. I didn't watch the
Right.
last one, so I would probably, because of that, I would probably say the first one. But I
would assume
give
that you didn't watch
leeway in
4.
the fact, huh?
I would assume that you just didn't watch 4 because that was on Amazon. I enjoy I think after watching the rebuilds, I think the rebuilds films for the recap for the original TV series was fine. I wasn't a massive fan of where the story goes, or at least how it was presented for the later parts of the rebuilds. I'm just a big fan of the originals. And it was a lot to do with the fact that I just think the directing and everything else that was put into it, even though I can have my complaints along with other people of how quality wise it kind of gets rough at the end. I just think like thematically, storytelling wise, pacing of the episodes, the writing, the attention to detail, everything that was in each of those episodes. I recently watched quite a bit of it because Psychotrist was doing his videos on it, and it was just like, just watching it on his live stream, I'm going, God damn, this show is so freaking like putting aside how he was reacting to what he was seeing, and I'm just going, this show is so cinema. Like this is something I just don't think will ever happen again. Just again, how much detail was in every single frame, and how well it paced out and told its storytelling was just so freaking great. There is a reason why Anno to this day is still looked at as a very, prominent figure in the anime sphere, and it was because of that TV series. It wasn't because of the rebuilds. It wasn't about anything that he'd done since then. It was because that TV series was so freaking good. So I'm a fan of the originals. The 90s golden era anime. Can't beat the golden age of anime. It's so good. I want to rewatch it. Like, I didn't get a chance to watch all of his live streams of it. Like, I want to rewatch it. And if you were in charge of 4.0 build, what would you change? My only issue that I had with the original, or the final, was it 3.1 plus 1.0, the last of the rebuilds films. The only real issue I had with it was that the action scenes just didn't feel very inspired. Like, it was a lot of just lines and crap like that. It just wasn't. It doesn't feel like there's no weight to it. Like, it just didn't feel like a very entertaining fight, and most of it was like that big battle. It didn't feel satisfying for like a climactic thing. Like, the story itself was fine though. I didn't have any problem with the story and where it went. So if I had to change anything, I probably would have just changed how that final battle happens, because it just didn't feel like it was. It's been a while, so I might be misremembering. So keep that in mind as well. I made a video on it that got extremely downvoted because nobody liked my my opinions on it. But I seem to remember a lot of my complaints was around that final battle being very, very. I mean, he's always kind of utilized a lot of computer generated stuff, but it just felt like a mess that wasn't very interesting. R says, "Where's your banner character from?" It's from the Discord. It's Spirit Chan. It's our mascot, original mascot character. Well, technically, what happened is that we contacted an artist who actually did artwork or some fan art for us before. We contacted him and commissioned him to make a chibi original character, and then we put that through AI and generated a not chibi character version of it, and then we stuck it into the banner. So AI, she's AI based on with the parameters of an original character. Okay. One of these days, I need to contact another artist and get an actual, like, full drawn character of her. I would like that. Or just keep trying AI. or keep messing with AI until it spits something out that I like. Anyways. Was that it? Let's see. Sabboy says, what are some anime that you've learned a lot from? Meaning an anime that had some good life lessons or were just generally educational. Hanasaki Roha. We talked about it earlier. Hanasaki Roha, like I've said before, was a show that came out, or at least when I finally watched it, because I didn't watch it when it first came out. I actually didn't really care much for the main character's design. Learned to love that design later on. But no, when I finally watched Hanasaki Roha, I was sort of in a position where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the place that I was working with. I had this choice where like I could go for a job that was going to pay less, but I would enjoy it more, or doing a job that I get paid more for, but I wouldn't enjoy. And there was also an element in there of sort of learning to love what you do as well, which technically did help with that decision. So it's kind of one of those shows that just kind of came out when I wasn't in a really good place and I was uncomfortable. And it sort of kind of gave me a lot of clarity in my decision making. Because that's what really a lot of that story is. Girl being kind of put in a position where she's abandoned by her mother. And she's stuck in a very uncomfortable position where she's at, but then she slowly kind of learns to enjoy what she's doing for the sake of having a better life. And that stuff kind of really hit me at the time. So, did you ever have that experience, Chris?
No, not really.
I seen a cute, fluffy dog anime, and I was like, happy.
Yeah. Well, I learned not to touch things by watching Mushishi, as we've discussed earlier.
Speaking of Mushishi from earlier,
life
lessons from Mushishi.
I learned a lot of things about boxing from Hajime no Ippo. I learned not to get in the mech in Evangelion.
No, that's supposed to teach you to get in the mecha.
Oh, to get in that. Well, no,
you got the wrong idea from that show, Chris. It was so bad because here recently they have Nikkei coming back with another Evangelion. Well, it is back with another Evangelion collab, and they had Toji's. Was it Toji? Yeah, it was Toji's sister. Is the free character because she's in the rebuilds, and they're doing all the rebuild models for this one. And there's like all these people going, "Who is this girl?" I'm like. You remember in Evangelion, the original series, when Toji beats the crap out of Shinji in the schoolyard? It was because of her. In the first episode, when Shinji gets in the mecha, gets in the Evangelion, guess what? She gets injured during that whole fight, and that's the girl. Yeah. So, geez, these new anime fans not knowing simple things about Evangelion. Gosh, you should tell me. Actually,
Andy, yeah, actually, do your type.
You should know. She's very important to the story. The driving force. I like how I actually post that in the Discord. Everybody's like, "What the hell?" Andrew's typing. Blah, 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 blah. Is he having a stroke? Andrew's having a stroke in the submit questions. That's going to be the question is going to pop up now is why did you have a stroke in the question area? Meaning anime that has some good life lessons or generally educated. Like generally educated though, like learning something from a show. God, there was one here not like super recent ago. I forgot there was one that I actually really enjoyed kind of getting into it because it was like a something I wasn't really interested in, but it was just enough kind of surface level that I kind of enjoyed. I mean, Negative Positive Angler was pretty good at that, where like I don't really care about fishing, but there was like some little bits here and there about like weather and actual fishing spots and different seasons and stuff like that. That was kind of an interesting thing to kind of get into. But typically whenever it gets kind of very nerdy, I don't really care too much to get into a lot of that stuff. I'm getting a little bit from Medalist.
Roshi has a lot of good life lessons.
Yeah. I think that Medalist has been doing pretty good at being very kind of decent surface level that I kind of understand. That's kind of interesting around figure skating. I think there is a lot of cases where like if a show is like informative at the same time. What's the term, like inf in infotational or something like that. I forget the term. It's like educational and
Edutainment.
edutainment. Yeah, it's like the words kind of put together. I think there are some cases where, like, if I do really like a show and it's really entertaining, I will be more receptive to, like, casual info dumps about stuff and actually kind of learn something here and there. But I think, like, Shirobako is a really good one right there. If you want to learn about, like, animation, like, Shirobako was really good. I personally found the first half to be a little bit rough to get into. But in the end, it's like some really good insights into the industry, which they technically do with what every single one of the ones they did in that whole series, which it's like the whole women in the workplace kind of series that PA Works was doing. Sakura Quest was one of them, which was about, if I remember correctly, like just bringing people to a location, advertising a district. They did that with Hanasaki Roha, technically with Hot Springs, and Shirobako. There was another. Was it another one? I want to say there was one other one, but yeah, I found all those ones really good.
A lot of your hot-blooded shonens have little baby life lessons in there that are usually set up for youth in never give up, acceptance, and all that stuff. So there's usually good life lessons in those.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's thanks Sabo Boy for the question. I think we'll call it there. How many more we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 more questions. And then we're gonna run out again. But yeah, we'll leave it there. But appreciate all the questions from everybody. Again, Davlin, Sabo Boy, R, What the Fan Art. We did Cosplay Joe, right? We did, didn't we? Yeah, that was a Tsumasho question. Okay, good. Make sure I didn't skip him. Sid Kun, Shadowwing, MD, Ira, thank you guys so much for the questions. Oh, Linman May, thank you guys so much. But yeah, with that, we'll conclude it. We hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode, talking about the news. It was a lot of fun. Good to finally be able to relax with Chris for once and not have like a stringent outline of reviews and stuff like that to go through. I'm not sure what we'll do next week. I honestly have not got a chance to put something together. We'll probably have a topical podcast episode. We might either do a topical podcast episode or we might do a spoiler cast, something like that. Talk about the shows right now. I'm sure Chris probably has a lot to talk about with ReZero, but we'll get around that when we get around to it. Hopefully, I'll get something put together before then. Or otherwise, I'll rush to put something together at the very end. I think there's a couple that I have topics that we have put aside that we haven't been able to get around to because, again, we've been kind of tied up with stuff for the last couple months. So anyhow, until then, again, we're at otakuspirit.com. It's where all of our links are, social media links, ways to get a hold of us, ways to support us. We greatly appreciate it. Support channel. And until next time, y'all take care.
Os.